Strange tales, yet mirrors of human life. Hey everyone! Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Strange Tales from Liao Zhai. Today, I'm going to bring you a story called Xing Ziyi. In Ting County, there was a man named Yang who had been unruly since childhood. As he grew older, he strayed further from the right path and eventually joined the White Lotus sect, where he learned a handful of dark and crooked spells. After the sect's leader, Shu Hongru, was killed and many followers were wiped out, Yang managed to escape the purge. Relying on his strange magic tricks, he roamed from place to place, deceiving people and swindling money. Ironically, this shady life brought him fortune. His home was complete with farmland, pavilions, and all the trappings of wealth. One time, Yang paid a visit to the estate of a local gentry family in Xing, offering to perform his magic as entertainment. The whole household, young and old, gathered to watch. Even the women of the family came to see, including the gentleman's daughter. The moment Yang laid eyes on her, he froze. The young lady was strikingly beautiful, like someone painted in a scroll. Greed stirred in his heart, and after returning home, he began plotting how to use his sorcery to bring her to him. Yang's second wife, Madame Zhu, was still relatively young and not without her own charms. He dressed her in fine silks and colorful robes, styling her to resemble a celestial maiden. Then, he gave her a wooden bird and taught her how to control it. Once Zhu had mastered it, Yang brought her up to the rooftop, then suddenly pushed her off. At first, Zhu screamed in terror. But moments later, she realized she was floating gently in the air, riding on clouds that shimmered with color. The night sky was clear and glowing with moonlight. Before long, Zhu could see the gentry's estate clearly below her. She released the wooden bird from her hand, and it immediately spread its wings and soared straight down toward the estate. Passing through the windows, the bird landed precisely in the bedroom of the gentleman's daughter. The young lady was startled to see such a brilliantly colored bird flutter into her room. Curious, she called for her maids to help catch it. Just as they approached, the strange bird flapped its wings and darted out through the doorway. The girl hurried after it and had just stepped over the threshold when the bird dropped to the ground, its wings twitching lightly. As she bent down to get a closer look, the bird suddenly sprang up and shot straight into the air, taking her with it. The maids screamed in horror as chaos broke out throughout the estate. High above, a voice rang out from the clouds. It was Zhu, proclaiming, "People of the mortal world, do not be afraid. I am Cheng of the Moon Palace. The young lady of your household is actually the 9th daughter of the Queen Mother from the Celestial Palace. Long ago, she was banished to the human world for mischief. Now the Queen Mother has fallen ill from longing and has sent me to bring her back for a brief reunion. She shall be returned to you soon." With that, Zhu and the young woman soared off into the night sky. They had nearly flown beyond the borders of Sisui when, by pure chance, someone below set off fireworks. The rockets exploded right beneath them, bright bursts of light showered the air, and a spray of sparks struck the wooden bird's wings. Startled, the bird lost control and began to spiral downward. The young lady fell from the sky, and Zhu, unable to steady herself, was dragged down with her. The two of them crash-landed directly into the home of a young scholar named Xing Ziyi. Xing Ziyi came from an extremely poor family, but he was upright and principled, never once doing anything that went against his conscience. Once, a married woman from a neighboring village sneaked into his home, attempting to seduce him. Xing sternly rejected her advances. Humiliated and angry, the woman returned home and twisted the story, telling her husband that Xing had tried to seduce her. Her husband, already a local scoundrel, flew into a rage upon hearing this. From then on, every morning and evening, he stood outside Xing Ziyi's door, hurling curses and insults, disturbing his peace day and night. Xing tried to reason with him, but the man was beyond reason. Left with no choice, Xing sold what little land he owned and moved far away to another village. After settling in the new village, Xing heard of a local fortune teller named Gu, who was said to be exceptionally skilled in predicting people's fate, whether for good or ill. Curious, Xing decided to pay him a visit. Gu looked him up and down and chuckled. "You're an interesting fellow," he said. "You should be rolling in wealth by now, yet here you are, showing up in a tattered cotton coat. What, you think I'm blind?" Xing gave a wry smile. "Now that's just nonsense." Gu examined him more closely, then nodded. "No, I wasn't wrong. Right now, yes, you're dirt poor, but before long, you're going to come into a great fortune." Xing shook his head, clearly unconvinced. He thought the old man was full of it. But Gu didn't seem the least bit bothered. He went on. "Not only that, you'll marry a stunningly beautiful woman too." Xing sighed. "Now you're just talking fairy tales." Gu burst out laughing and waved him away. All right, off you go. When it all comes true, you can come back and pay me then." That very night, under the glow of a clear, moonlit sky, Xing Ziyi sat alone in his courtyard. Suddenly, a shadow dropped from the sky. And then, another. Xing's eyes widened in shock. He stepped forward for a closer look, and saw two women lying on the ground, both of them so beautiful they looked almost otherworldly. Suspecting they might be spirits or demons, Xing approached cautiously and asked who they were and where they had come from. But the women hesitated, dodging the question. Seeing this, Xing warned them sternly, "If you don't give me a straight answer, I'll call the villagers over. Let's see what kind of monsters you really are." Zhu's expression changed at once, clearly alarmed. She quickly lowered her voice and confessed everything, begging him not to reveal their whereabouts. She even offered to stay and live with him, if he kept it a secret. After hearing her out, Xing thought to himself, "This young lady from the gentry's household is a different matter altogether. She can't stay here. Her family must be worried sick about her. I need to let them know right away." So, without delay, he sent someone to deliver a message to the gentleman's estate. Sure enough, ever since their daughter's disappearance, the gentleman and his wife had been crying day and night, sick with worry and nearly driven to despair. When word suddenly came that she had been found, their joy was indescribable. Without wasting a second, they ordered their servants to drive through the night to Xing Ziyi's home. To show his gratitude, the gentleman also prepared a reward of 100 taels of silver before bringing his daughter home. Originally, Xing Ziyi had felt both joy and anxiety, joy at having unexpectedly gained a beautiful wife in Zhu, and anxiety over how poor and unprepared he was to support her. But now, with the unexpected gift of 100 taels, his most pressing concerns were instantly eased. Deeply relieved, he paid a visit to Gu, the fortune teller, to offer his thanks. Gu studied him for a moment, then suddenly burst into a grin. "Your good fortune isn't over yet. Things have only just started turning around for you. This little bit of silver? It's nothing." And once again, he refused to accept any payment. Meanwhile, the gentleman's daughter had returned home safely. As soon as she arrived, her father went straight to the authorities to report the crime and request the immediate arrest of Yang. But Yang had already caught wind of the news and disappeared without a trace. With no one to arrest, the officials ransacked his home and issued a wanted notice for both him and his wife Zhu. When Zhu heard this, her face went pale. Clutching Xing Ziyi's sleeve, she wept and cried, "What am I going to do now?" Xing Ziyi frowned deeply, thinking long and hard, but he couldn't come up with a safe solution. Time was running out. In desperation, he bribed the constables in charge of the arrest, hoping to delay the matter. Then, wasting no time, he hired a cart and horses, took Zhu with him, and went straight to the gentleman's estate to beg for help. The gentleman was touched by Xing Ziyi's sense of loyalty and responsibility. He promised to do everything he could to help them. Eventually, through generous bribes and careful maneuvering, he managed to have Zhu's charges dropped and her punishment waived. From then on, the gentleman's family treated Xing and Zhu with great kindness, even inviting them to stay temporarily in one of the family's guest residences. The two households became quite close. As it happened, the gentleman's daughter had long been betrothed to a young man from the Liu family in the capital, a noble and influential clan known for their pride and obsession with reputation. Once they learned that the daughter had once stayed in Xing Ziyi's home, they considered it a disgrace. Without hesitation, they returned the betrothal documents and called off the engagement. The gentleman was deeply troubled by this, worrying over how to find a suitable new match for his daughter. But to his surprise, his daughter calmly told her parents, "I've already made up my mind, I won't marry anyone but Xing Ziyi." When Xing heard this, he was overjoyed. Zhu was also delighted and willingly offered to become his concubine. The gentleman, though moved, still worried. Xing had no fortune, no career, no house. Where would his daughter live if she married him? Just then, news came that Yang's former estate was being auctioned off by the authorities. Without hesitation, the gentleman stepped in and paid for the property himself, gifting it to Xing Ziyi as a wedding gift. Xing Ziyi brought Zhu to their newly acquired estate. Using the silver he had previously received, he hastily purchased some daily necessities and hired a few maids and servants. But 100 taels doesn't last forever. In just over 10 days, the money was completely spent. Left with no choice, he could only hope that when the gentleman's daughter married in, her father would provide additional support. That night, Zhu said to Xing Ziyi, "My former husband committed many terrible deeds. He once buried 1,000 taels of silver in the courtyard. I'm the only one who knows about it. Just earlier, I went to check the spot. None of the bricks or stones have been disturbed. The silver might still be there." Upon hearing this, Xing Ziyi grabbed a lantern and rushed out with Zhu. The two of them dug at the spot she mentioned, and sure enough, before long they unearthed a jar full of bright, shining silver ingots. From that moment on, Xing Ziyi became a firm believer in Gu's fortune-telling. He prepared a generous gift and visited Gu once again, this time offering up the silver in person. Gu finally accepted the payment with a smile. Not long afterward, the gentleman's daughter arrived for the wedding in great splendor, bringing with her an abundant dowry. Over the next few years, Xing Ziyi and his household managed their affairs carefully and steadily built their fortune, eventually rising to become the wealthiest family in town. At the end of the story, the author adds this reflection. When the White Lotus sect was crushed, nearly all its followers were killed, except Yang. He alone managed to escape with his life. Yet even then, he showed no remorse and continued down his wicked path. One can't help but wonder. Is heaven's net truly so vast and fine-meshed, or does it still let some slip through? But then again, who's to say heaven did not spare Yang precisely so that Xing Ziyi's fortune might come to pass? If not for Yang, would Xing's life have changed so dramatically? Could he have risen to wealth and prosperity in just a few short years? He turned away a woman from the neighboring village, and in return, heaven sent him not one, but 2 beautiful women. Ah, the Creator may not speak, but it surely has its own ways of making things known. Alright. That's all for today's tale, Xing Ziyi. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please also encourage everyone to comment and share more. We'll see you in the next episode.